don't give up. God sees you. Even in the valley, and the valley doesn't define you. I have to keep reminding myself, because I will say that and I'll bring others along with me, but then bad voices will be in my head that say, oh no, that's not, no, you just didn't cut the mustard this time, so we're going to have to put you in a little different pile. And so knowing that your job, your situation doesn't define you, and that God has great plans for you, just you haven't seen them yet.
Yeah. Welcome to the Midweek Motivation Podcast, where we bring practical help for your faith and life. Here's today's episode. Thanks so much for joining us. My name is Gabe Kolstad. I'm one of the pastors here at Westside, and I'm here with my friends Greg and Amy Lang, and I can't wait to talk to you about the topic at hand today, which is staying strong when things don't really work out yet. And I know you guys know a thing or two about that, and we'd love to just hear your story. First of all, thank you for being willing to share what God's been doing in your lives and how he's been keeping you strong. And I think when you share today what you've been going through, there's going to be a lot of people that resonate to go, yep, we've been there, or I feel like I'm there right now. And so without any further ado, I want to have you introduce yourselves a little bit. Tell us a little bit about who you are, and maybe just a quick snapshot of some of the things that God's tested you through in the last couple of years.
My name's Greg Lang, and I've been coming here probably about 5-6 years, maybe a little bit longer. Who knows? It's just like doing that. I do help out in the production of the online and all of those things, so that's always good. Unfortunately, I've been underemployed or unemployed for about 2.5 years now, and it's been a long season, and it's very scary and frustrating a bit. So that's the personal thing that we've been going through.
Yeah, it's tough. And Amy, you're involved in design and staging.
So I am a home stager that specializes in virtual staging. Which actually started when the pandemic hit.
Oh, it did?
So making a career change at that time was also a pretty strong decision to make, and then having to deal with unemployment. It's been a lot of ups and downs for sure.
Yeah. Well, and I think of you every time I walk in the lobby of our church, because you helped us make that beautiful, and we appreciated it so much.
Oh, my
it's
pleasure.
Still holding up really well. Yeah. Well, we're going to just chat a little bit about, your testing times and how the ways God can show up in that, specifically how he has for you. But Greg, tell us a bit more about what has this season of unemployment or underemployment been like for you?
It's been tough, to be honest. It's felt a bit like a gut punch because as much as you don't want to, a lot of guys will put their value in with what they do versus who they are and who they look to. And so I'm, been hit with the thoughts of, what have I done to make God upset at me, and having to work through those, and am I still employable? And then it also rolls down to, well, my job is to provide for the family, and if I can't do that, what's my worth? And it's very hard to get over those sometimes and not bring Amy down and try to be straightforward with her and still do things. So it's been difficult, but it's taught me a lot of patience, because again, I've always either had a job before I've left a job, or even in a layoff, I was like 2 months, 3 months before I got another job, and it's been a long time. And so it's like, okay, but I followed your preaching and things about you need to constantly pray for it, and you let God know what you're looking for, and that. So I've been leaning on those and trying that out a lot.
Yeah, well, and one of the things that I've appreciated a lot about you guys is you've consistently shared with the appropriate people what's been going on and what you needed prayer for. And I think that is so helpful because, one, it helps us to know how we can support you, and then I think it also gives you a sense that you're not alone in this, which is a big part of it, right? Not to be alone.
Yeah, and then that's what I'd say to anybody. It's difficult, but you can't do it by yourself.
Yeah.
You have to let people know how they can help you, and that you're not alone on this, that you have a family that's looking after you.
Yeah, totally. I want to go back to what you said about worth, because I could not agree more. I mean, always, even to this day, I feel like I struggle with the same thing. And, for me, it's not because I don't have a job. It's because I often feel like am I doing a good enough job? Or, if I miss a mark, or if, whatever. And it always just digs, I think. But can you tell us what's been helpful for you for rebuilding some of that, that the worth that needs to be there from a different source? How have you handled that?
A lot of it has been Amy, as being a partner and an encourager, and being open to when I'm not having good days to see what I need and tell me that I am worthwhile, and that, again, it's not the job, and that God sees me, and that He is our provider, and He's there for me, and that I need to focus on that and the promises that He provides.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. I'm sure that for all of us, it takes a lot of reminders of those things.
Yes.
Just over and over again. And again, I'm still, kind of in the processing. I think I always will be. I suppose, yes, maybe because I'm a guy, but also because I am task oriented. And so for me, I'm always just looking at what have I done, and measuring that. But Amy, can you talk to us about what this was like for you, this experience so far?
So my heart has just really ached for Greg and what he's been going through, and the fact that, I want to be able to fix it, and I can't, and getting over the fact that I can't fix it. We have to just trust in God, and that He's got a plan for us. It's just, again, it's on His time. But I've been, very worried about finances and things of that nature.
Sure.
And but in the long run, I've actually had a peace about it all. And Greg probably is like you do, because God has always shown up.
Yeah.
We have not wanted for anything ever. So to even, I feel like sometimes we're wallowing, but we shouldn't be, because we've been so blessed with everything. So.
That's cool. We, on Sunday, which at Westside, we have our Sunday services. This last weekend, we celebrated a really big milestone of Pastor Ken, who's my main mentor and was the pastor before me here, his 50th anniversary here at this church, which is very rare for a pastor to stay put for 50 years anywhere. But also to stay faithful all that time and still be encouraging people. And he's 82 now, and he got to share some of what he went through, just ups and downs. And he and I have talked a lot about that. But we talked on Sunday about the Good Shepherd and how He's always there with us. And I'm reminded, as you guys are talking about that fact, that he walks with you through the valley. And it's awesome that you've been so open to hearing His voice, and reaching out for His help in all of that. So. One of the things that stood out to all of us in this time is how you kept on showing up. People handle this differently. People handle adversity differently. And something that you both have done, which I think has been very standout, has been you've leaned in during that time and, stayed faithful with your serving, with your giving, with encouraging others. And what gives you the wherewithal to do that, I guess, is the question that I have.
I guess some of it is this is a family that is there and wanting to help you, even though you feel afraid to do that, to ask for that. But I think getting involved with community groups and those and being able to have a small group instead of a big sanctuary or a big area, and seeing people and talking to them and doing things with them. And then, a lot of it is knowing what abilities God has given you. And it's like, I can provide something to somebody. And I mean, I even say it on the
ribs.
Oh, well, that too. Yeah.
Oh, man. Greg's ribs are amazing.
But being able to provide something for somebody, and I say it in the production all the time, it's like, do we get the message out? Did we get the word of God out to people?
Right.
And that's what they need. I think everything else is great. We want to have good music. We want to have all the things.
Sure.
But can we, get the message out to them? And that's the main thing is giving that. So, and again, just utilizing the gifts you have and the things you have is how can I be of service? How can I do that and help somebody else? And so that was it.
So for you, being connected to serving was a big part of that.
Yeah.
Not just showing up, but showing up because you were connected to serving.
Yeah, that was part of it. It's funny because we were watching an online service. This is right before COVID, and I kept sitting there and watching that, and I go, ooh, they should cut right here. Oh, they should do this. And she turns to me and says, why don't you just go volunteer? And so, I think I will. And so
that's so cool.
I came in after that. So, armchair quarterbacking anymore.
Yeah, no. But if you guys, those who are listening and watching, if you show up on a Sunday at Westside, you're going to see Greg as one of these super encouragers. Just awesome attitude, always smiling. Says you'll find if you see a discouraged person, you find a way to make them smile or brighten their day or say something kind. And I think that's such a value add to people. We really appreciate that. Hey, just jumping in right in the middle of this podcast episode to tell you about a resource that you need in your life. If you feel ever stuck in your faith, or if you feel like, I want to grow my faith, but I just don't quite know what the steps are, we got a resource for you called Sticky Faith in a Slippery World. I mean, this world is changing and it's crazy, and we all need something firm to stand on. And I wrote a book for you called Sticky Faith in a Slippery World. You can get your copy right now at the link in the description. I would say also one of the things that I wanted to ask is, as you were listening through this last weekend's message, on Pastor Ken and all these ups and downs, what resonates with you about that? Was there anything that stands out to you about times you've really heard God's whisper, or you've really seen him in your path?
Well, for me, it's the ability, and it is the whisper of God. And I have a difficulty at times being quiet and toned down a bit. So it's like learning to listen for that whisper, because in that whisper, there's things. He'll put people in our path and in our way that have something that is just so encouraging to me, or that have some help for me in some way, that if I just listen and watch and do, listen more with my ears than going forward with my lips. And that's been very important in doing that and getting through some of the valley there too.
Yeah, that's good. You got anything to add to that, Amy?
Well, especially Greg is a shepherder. So anybody he meets, he engages with immediately. And if they've got some sort of an issue or a need, he finds a way to help them. And which I admire very much. And for me, I am a little bit less I have to force myself to get into community.
Yeah, okay.
And so I've been, trying to get more active. And every time I do, I gain something from it, new relationships, new message or things of that nature.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. And so, but yes, seeing all that Greg does, encourages me for sure.
Me too. Okay, I got a fun curveball to throw you, and that is this. I was thinking about if you hadn't been working as much, then you were probably at home more, right? And Amy, you work from home, correct? Like a lot of the time?
Yes.
So I'm sure that dynamic you had to pay attention to and manage that dynamic. Did Greg clean all the windows? Was my question. No.
Absolutely not. I do have a fabulous window cleaner, though.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yes,
okay.
yes.
Didn't even need to. Okay.
Yes, no.
But seriously, was there something that you guys got to learn about each other? And how did that experience of just going, okay, we're around each other more now, how did that change things for you?
For me, it was listening more.
Okay.
And trying to, especially as we got towards weekends or things when she didn't have projects or that, is trying to be active together. I thought was very important for us.
Yeah.
I mean, and for us just to, it doesn't have to be something big. And I look to you and Melissa on that too, seeing all the great things that you're doing. It's like, it doesn't have to be huge.
Right.
But I think it's important for the marriage as well, especially in a stressful time, that we're not ignoring each other, that we're playing into our time of laughter to do things that make us both happy and excited.
Yeah, almost sounds like that was an upside of the downtime, right? Would you say that you guys have gotten closer because you got to spend more of that time together and you've learned how to do that?
I'd say some of that, yeah. It's just making a conscious effort to know that your partner is there and that you need to be open and honest.
Yeah. And then be quiet when she's on a call. Yeah, totally.
And it took us a while to get there. We did recognize that, we need to make some changes.
Sure, yeah.
And, but Greg is also my savior when I get really detailed, and because I'm a perfectionist.
Okay.
And so I will have to say, can you come and look at this?
Oh, cool.
And walk and talk me off the ledge, because I will sit there for hours when it doesn't make a difference.
He's going, ship it. It's good.
Ship it. Get it out of here.
I do. Well, I'll meet in a sec. I'm plain normal customer. Nobody's going to notice that little 2 inches to the right that you really think you need to move that. I think the overall experience is great.
That's so cool. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Another thing that we noticed and just see from you guys is not only your bright attitude, but also, I mean, just to be honest, you guys have remained faithfully generous even through a time of financial testing, which is, again, unusual. And so you really are standing out as a couple who's gone through adversity in an, I would say, unusual, but I think really more in a noteworthy way, you know? And so I'd love to just hear about, like, how have you trusted God through the financial trials of all of this, and what advice might you give to somebody else who's kind of at that fork in the road going, what do we do here?
Yeah. I think it was interesting for us because we never really had that conversation about, well, we need to stop doing tithing or doing anything. In fact, even as like the first year was going, I was trying to keep it at the same level as when we were both fully employed, and we said, tapping into the savings and doing everything like that is not smart. But it's important that we do give back, that we recognize that everything really is from God, and that He is providing. As Amy said, it's like we've never gone for want. We've always made the bills. We've always, and probably you look at me for profile, I could have used a few meals not having food. But yeah, it's. So I guess that was an important thing to us, because it's as Amy has said, it's trust, and knowing that we place our trust in God. And for me, it's strange. I can't quote it correctly, but the verse you're talking about, look at the little birds of the field. That if God provides for them, why would He not provide for you?
Yeah. Wow, that's pretty special.
Yeah, I always try to go back to that one, because okay, stop whining. It's time to.
Yeah.
When we first got married, we went through Financial Peace.
Okay, like Dave Ramsey's Financial Peace University.
Yeah, which I think was very important to us. We were both coming in from a second marriage, and I know for me, my first marriage, money was a big issue, and so I wanted to kind of address that type of a thing right off the bat. And so, but in doing that, I learned that my control freak nature was not going to work for her. So I have given control of our finances to Greg.
Okay.
And I mean, we still communicate.
Sure.
But I don't stress about it, because I have faith that He is using what God has provided us, and it's not the paycheck that defines us, it's what we're doing,
so
with
good.
it. So,
yeah. Wow. I mean, I hear just an enormous amount of trust that seems to be the foundation of your relationship. And I suppose that can only happen if you are first trusting God. And I guess that's what I'm seeing and observing from you guys. And it's, that clicks together for me to go, okay, this is what I see. This is why we wanted to hear from you about this, is that you've done this in a way where you're demonstrating trust in God and trust in each other, because it's not every time when somebody goes through a difficult challenge that their marriage gets better and stronger. right? They don't always get closer together.
Yeah.
It's possible, but I think you have to have that foundation. So I want you to hear this from me. Congratulations that you've done that well. And one of the things I love in Scripture, Peter says this in one of his epistles, first or second, I can't remember. But he says, after a little while of suffering, God's going to restore you.
Right.
And you do see like there's those moments when you're like, okay, finally we got a little break here. Mm-hmm. Finally there's a little relief from the suffering or from the scariness or from the drought, And you've seen a little bit of that, Greg. Do you want to talk a little bit about how God has brought you some work now?
Oh, yeah. I applied and I'm doing substitute teaching. Yeah. And so that's provided some paying of the bills and doing that. And this year has been a lot of special ed kids. So I've been able to do a lot of one-on-one and just let them try to express themselves and get through some assignments and work at getting them
that's
the next steps and things that. So that's been rewarding in doing that. And just,
I'll bet those kids love having you there.
We have a good time.
I'm sure you do. Yeah. Probably the most fun teacher they've had. That's very cool. What advice would you have for the person who's out there going like, well, I'm in a place where I'm not strong. My life is not strong. This is tough. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to get through this. What advice would you guys have for that person?
Don't give up. God sees you. Even in the valley. And the valley doesn't define you.
I love that.
And again, I have to keep reminding myself because I will say that and I'll bring others along with me, but then bad voices will be in my head that say, oh, no, that's not, no, you just didn't cut the mustard this time, so we're going to have to put you in a little different pile. And so knowing that your job, your situation doesn't define you, that God has great plans for you, just you haven't seen them yet.
Yeah.
Listen to the quiet, follow his direction, and you're not done yet.
That's really good. And one of the things I also admire about you, Greg, is that you've been pretty persistent about putting yourself out there. And you've shared with me some of the applications you put in and how you're praying. And again, I just think there's great value in the way you're sharing your life as you're going through this, but also that you're living that out. Don't quit. No, you're not quitting. You're continually putting yourself out there, and I think there's huge value in that. Yeah.
Great.
Amy, you got any words of wisdom for the listeners that might be going through a hard time?
Again, kind of the fact that Greg can continue to put himself out there has just amazed me because I'm sure he's wanted to crawl under a rock but you just have to keep going. This is not the end.
Yeah.
Your future is ahead of you, and continue to listen to God and follow him, continue to worship, and he will clear a way for you.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and you've obviously been a great encouragement to him, which is a gift. And so thank you for what you've shown in just your own resilience and your own encouragement for him, because I'm sure that's a big reason why he's able to stand as tall as he is right now. And I love it. So thanks you guys for sharing with us. It's awesome to see what God's doing in your life. And Greg, we're going to keep praying for you that God opens that right door in his time. Yeah.
We like that.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Midweek Motivation. To make sure you don't miss any content in the future, please subscribe, share, and if you enjoyed this, give us a like, and consider popping by a Westside service some weekend. You can find out more at westsidecommunitychurch.com.